Alright guys, we are back for Mark's Bad Ending number 2. I have loaded save 1 from Bad Ending number 1, and now we pick a different option, which is appease the brownie somehow. Great, now Mom was noticing the weirdness too. That was going to make my secret harder to keep. I eyed the brownie as it glared at the keys on the counter. It chattered angrily in a voice that sounded more like snapping twigs and leaves than words. If the keys went missing again now, Mom would freak out. I looked around quickly and finally picked up the egg toast from the plate Mom had left for me on the table and tore it in half. While Mom wasn't looking, I tossed it to the brownie, hoping to distract it from the keys. What do fairies even like to eat? Then again, maybe that was a stupid question. I was a fairy, allegedly, and I just liked normal food for the most part. The brownie scurried to the fallen bit of bread and carried it off to a corner to eat. I was glad that apparently worked. Nice. Mom's oblivious.
Come to think of it, didn't you join that paranormal club or something?
Paranormal Mysteries Club, yeah.
Do you do ghost hunts? Maybe you should have all your little friends come to the house to investigate.
Yeah, I don't think we do those kinds of things in houses that have people in them.
Oh? Why not?
I think we had this discussion on a... Okay, no, it was here. I'm like, I feel like we've had this discussion before. Was that a different route? Okay, so now we're going to do a lot of choices that we've done before. So there'll be lots of skipping. Let's see, what's this one? This one again. I was just going to say that I'm sad that we never got to hear Mom's verdict on how Mark looked. Not really. Okay, decide to follow Mark. Which I'm sad about, because Mom's the ultimate shipper. I was just worried. Thanks, man. Looking forward to your bad end. I know it's coming. Okay, I think it's this one. I think. Still not written quite right in my notes, but hopefully that's right. Okay. Biff. This one... Being honest with Adrian again. Barf. Crying again. Most of this is the same as Bad Ending 1. With the exception of feeding a brownie egg toast, apparently. It's a very important decision. More important than you'd think. Oh, what do you mean by that? Alright. The kiss me one. And then... this one, like we did before. This is a new one, I think. Yes. I did my best to sprint after him, lamenting my choice of heels. Behind me, I heard Mark following. Oh, man. I needed to get to him first. Spencer was not going to handle getting tackled by a vampire. So you turned to the other vampire? Oh, no, it's Mark. Okay, I was like... I thought Nora was saying that. I'm like, girl, but... never mind. All's forgiven.
Adrian, we have to stop him. I can't believe he's human.
By some miracle, I managed to get within arm's reach right as he started down the first flight of stairs. My hand closed on the back of his collar, and I yanked him back. Not so fast! He staggered back, falling roughly against the top steps. I wrapped him into a headlock and hung on for dear life.
Get off me!
Nope!
Get off!
He struggled against me, but I somehow managed to stagger to my feet and pull him back into the hall.
Let go of me!
No! We need to talk!
Let go!
I didn't see the elbow coming before it landed right in my kidney. Oof! I doubled over, my grip loosening briefly. He twisted away and tried to flee. Spencer, just listen to me for a second! I snagged the strap of his book bag, pulling with all my strength. It slid off his arm, and the contents went flying every which way. He stopped to look back at me as I bent to pick up a familiar book. My research journal. I slowly straightened, raising my eyes to meet his. He was a few feet away, but now Mark and Adrian had blocked the exit, so he had nowhere to run. What are you doing with this? Did you take it this morning when you were up the club room? My poor kidney. I did. I read it all. You're not supposed to be able to read this. You said you forgot. You lied? Are we back? Yes. Man, my kidney and my face. Goodness gracious. Okay, I gotta turn my notes around. Ugh. Ow. This is a new choice for us too. I'll be careful, I promise. Lots of hand washing. Just go, you're going to be late. She stopped and set her hand on my cheek.
You look like you didn't sleep at all.
Well, I slept a little. I wanted to be there if he woke up and needed anything.
You're a good sister. I'm glad to see you two working things out.
Yeah. I wish that was really the case.
I'll text to check on you two, okay?
We'll be fine. You're only going out for a few hours. What could happen? Okay, we've done this one before. Gonna have some same options again, I think, for a little bit. Alright. And then you two are here. Yeah, keep your hands to yourself so that you can talk to me on the front porch again. Joy of joys. Thank you. And then this one I haven't done before. I chewed on my lower lip as I trailed my fingers over the books on the shelf in front of me. I already knew that anyway. I gave Mark a tired smile, doing my best to not project every frustrating thought I was having at the moment. I mean, it's obvious, right? I'd hoped that he'd be different once we told him the truth. But in the end, I knew it would be like this. Even that first day in the club when Allie said maybe I could fix things with Spencer, I knew it wouldn't be easy. I knew it might not even be possible. I may be a hopeless idiot when it comes to watching my back. But I know Spencer way better than you, and even I see that he just wants to prove himself right. I sighed, trying not to let the hopelessness completely overwhelm me. Just because he knows the truth, it doesn't mean we suddenly understand each other. That would definitely be asking too much. I looked up at him again, trying to find the right words. I didn't want to justify Spencer, but I could definitely understand where his anger was coming from. Sort of. I wanted to understand anyway. But for the record, I don't think my brother is necessarily representative of all humans. He's kind of a special case. We might be back? Yes. And then this one... being unreasonable. I kind of like what Nora had to say there. Let's see, this one's maybe you're right. Just acknowledging that just because he knows the truth of what's been going on doesn't mean, hey, everything's better now. Alright, this is from the good ending. I don't think we're gonna get a Spencer death in the Mark Bad Ends. I just don't feel it in my soul. I could be wrong, unless he's ravened into doing it. Alright, this is you. And I was just leaving. Do you think we'll be able to help? What do I do for this one? We need to talk again. Barf. That just makes William sad. I didn't think you'd care. And does this one matter? This one I guess doesn't matter because I don't have it written down. I just want to make sure. Let's do this because we haven't done it yet. Yeah, no. I'm thinking it's better to shut things down before anyone gets eaten. Would definitely serve them right. There are some things you just don't mess with. I'm just wondering if I should plan for some kind of tentacle apocalypse, just in case things don't go well. Nah, it'll be fine. The agency has this stuff down to a science. You have no idea how many near apocalypses happen every year, and that's just in Pine Hollow. Well, that's absolutely terrifying. You'll get used to it. How does one get used to that? I had no idea how she could be so glib about frequent near apocalypses. I guess it did explain why it was so critical to keep it all a secret. I couldn't imagine the public handling frequent apocalyptic scares well. You know, you may be onto something with that. Okay. Magic has been magicked. And then this one is... What do you think, Mark? And what do you think, Mark? For this one... Okay, yell at him again. And not throw the book bag. Okay, I just want to make sure... Yeah, there's no saving going on. Okay. I spun around and fled angrily down the sidewalk at a run. When had I ever done that? When had I ever expected everyone else to let me do what I wanted without consequence? I had never done it. I had made mistakes, but not because I wanted to be careless. Oh, we have our book bag this time. Interesting. The moment she reached for me, I acted on instinct and swung my book bag at her with all my strength. It made pretty solid contact with the side of her head. I had no idea if that was wise, but I took the opportunity of her seeming a bit stunned to run for my life. I really need to start wearing tennis shoes. I ran non-stop until I was right at the edge of the last shops. I stopped in front of a bench there and tried to catch my breath as I checked if she followed. She was nowhere in sight. Okay. She was not very persistent when it came to following through on her attempts to ambush me. The least bit of resistance seemed to throw her off. I was grateful for that much, but damn, why was she so fixated on me? Stupid thing? I didn't even know what she was. A ghost? A fairy? A birch tree lady? Worse? As soon as I was able, I started walking quickly toward Raven's Glade. I did not want another encounter with her before the day was out. Okay. On the way, I'd been thinking a lot about her. I remembered an old tale I'd read about birch spirits. They were described as gaunt women with long, pale hands. They had the power of death and madness in their touch. I had no idea if that's what she was, but I definitely didn't want to find out. I paused briefly to lean against the railing and look out at the fading light reflecting on the trickling water. Barf. I tossed my book bag by the sofa and flopped down, tipping my head back to stare at the ceiling, because William didn't have to return my book bag. I really need to pull myself together. Okay, now we're back. Alright, where am I checking? The cafeteria, straight off the bat. I checked the cafeteria first, then worked my way back up to the club and courtyard. From the first lunch onward, the cafeteria tended to be occupied. I doubted she hung out there much in the afternoon. So if she spent time there at all, it was in the mornings. I headed for the stairs, trying to decide what I would tell Brenna when I found her. Are we... yes. Okay. So she still ran her... I just, like, cut out a lot of middle ground by going straight to the cafeteria. This is a new one for us. Why bother? I'm just a human. What I do shouldn't matter to you anyway. It matters when I have to watch it. If you don't want to watch it, then just walk away. It's none of your business anyway. I'm not saying it's my business. I'm saying I don't want to have to see it. There's an entire hallway you can look at. Or you can just go somewhere else. Last I checked, your locker wasn't anywhere near here. Okay. Let's just relax. He stepped between us, giving me a worried smile.
No one was flirting. She just hurt her hand. I was looking at it, that's all.
Mark just scoffed.
Huh. How typical. All you have to do is look a little helpless and immediately someone jumps up to baby you. Mark, chill out.
For real, dude. I wonder why he went over there. Do you think he was gonna go apologize and then saw her flirting again and was just like, why do I keep doing this? Just for that, I'm gonna wait for you to text. Barf. I set my phone down without typing anything at all. No. Not yet. I should just leave it for now. My bad habit was just not leaving things alone when I was better off doing just that. If I texted him now, I might just make it worse. Sometimes it was better to give someone space than force the burden of an apology on them before they were ready. Besides, I had no idea what to apologize for. For being upset? For being angry? For thinking something insensitive or wishing in one moment of weakness that none of this had happened? I felt bad for all that, but could I genuinely apologize for thinking this was all absurd and that I'd be better off as just a normal, clueless human? If the powers that be insisted on keeping humans in the dark, then how was I responsible for unknowingly setting up some kind of contract that resulted in my own kidnapping? I couldn't wrap my head around that kind of thinking. And I didn't think I'd ever be able to explain it to Mark, not when he was coming from the other side, where cryptics were burdened with protecting humans from the truth. Even to the exclusion of their own rights. Which, that wasn't something I agreed with either. Maybe the divide between normal humans and cryptics was just too wide to breach. Though that was too depressing a way to think. I wanted to believe we could understand each other at the very least, if not stay friends. Maybe I should just wait for him to make the first move, assuming he ever would. And if he didn't, then we'd both walk away and that would be that. I don't like that at all. And I'm not going for a walk with you either. I leaned on the windowsill and stared at the trees and the empty lot across from the house. Thanks for the offer, but I'm not really feeling up to it right now. I just kinda want to be alone.
You've been alone since we got home from school.
Yeah, well, I've been thinking. Maybe I should go with him. It wasn't like he often offered to spend time with me. Then again, he probably just wanted to talk about club things or fairy things without Mom and Dad hearing. I didn't want to talk to him about that stuff. What?
Never mind.
He left without another word. I blew my hair away from my eyes and shut the window. Maybe I should have said yes. He looked sort of disappointed. He was being much nicer lately. I guess knowing the truth about my situation had at least partially convinced him I wasn't some sort of fraud. Even if he also wasn't totally wrong on that front either. I heard the door shut downstairs and watched Spencer go down the driveway. Closing the window, I pulled the curtain shut. Maybe a walk actually wouldn't hurt. Even if I wasn't exactly up for bonding with Spencer, it would be nice to get out of my head for a while. I grabbed my boots and decided to head down to the bridge. I hadn't been down there since the whole Spriggan thing. It was a nice day, but it was definitely getting colder. I was glad that I'd found a way to keep myself in at night. I bet it was freezing out. Definitely not the time of year to be running around barefoot and in pajamas. I walked down a secluded path that ran alongside the road. It was a nice little addition to the neighborhood. On one side was empty forest, and on the other a thin screen of trees shielded me from view of the street. It was the perfect place for contemplative walks. Sunlight dappled the sidewalk, and I mentally counted off my footsteps as I walked. It wasn't that late, but there was probably only an hour or two of sunlight left in the day. I took a deep breath and sighed. I wondered what she was doing in that moment. The other me. Though I guess she wasn't really me, exactly. It was weird. The feeling that I was sharing my body with someone else. When I was sleepwalking, I got a taste of what it felt like to watch the world through her eyes. Was that how she felt when I was the one awake? Lost in darkness, watching things from my perspective? Unable to control her own body. That had to be terrible. Then again, I couldn't feel too sorry for her. She was definitely an accomplice in my kidnapping. I'm trapped in a body with my kidnapper. This is a weird situation. This is like angsty teen novel levels of weird. So weird it didn't feel real. But there was definitely a part of me that wanted to get into a shouting match with her. Maybe kick her butt. Unfortunately, it was also my butt at the moment, which made kicking it a little difficult. And counterproductive. Stupid kidnapper! I hope you can hear me! Then again, I couldn't hear her. I didn't think. So I assumed that she couldn't hear my thoughts, just watch everything I do. Like all the rolling around squealing I'd done the day Mark kissed me. Or taking a shower. Gah! Then again, I guess we're kind of watching each other in a way. That line of thought was just too weird for me to even follow. I wasn't nearly enough of a mental contortionist to unravel it all and think about it logically. I shook my head to try to clear my thoughts. The real issue was figuring out a way to give this lady the boot and get myself back in my original body. Though I guess I'd technically be giving myself the boot. Who even knew anymore? The narrow path I was on ended abruptly, and I found myself standing not far from the little bridge near the neighborhood entrance. To my surprise, Spencer was standing there leaning against the rail. So this is where he went. I hesitated before continuing toward him. I hadn't really been planning on spending time with him, but it looked like we'd had the same idea when it came to our respective walks. The moment I set my foot on the bridge, he looked up.
I thought you didn't want to come.
Well, I figured a walk would be nice. I didn't think you'd be here.
Well, I am.
Yes, I can see that. Alright, I think we're caught up to Bonding Town.
As I thought, that wasn't just a dream.
What wasn't?
I've been having this dream lately, about that hill. About the time I went inside it.
That's... It suddenly came back to me. All at once, like a rush of images and feelings. You did go inside it! I remember that I was looking. I looked everywhere for you, and there were voices coming from under the hill. So she remembers this time around.
But they wouldn't let me go.
No. I had to... Our eyes met as I remembered what happened.
You had to make a deal. To take my place.
That's it. That's how the contract was started. Spencer laughed, but the look on his face was heartbreaking as he ran a hand through his hair.
It was my fault. All of it. I blamed you like an idiot. But all of this was my fault.
No! No. Don't think like that. Spencer wiped at his eyes, but he couldn't hide the tears. I bit my lip and reached toward him hesitantly, but he pulled out of reach.
That means the only safe way to break the contract is probably for me to go back. They wanted me first anyway.
No, we are not doing something like that. Look, I found another way, okay? I mean, I still have to work out the details, but I think it's going to be safe. Safe enough to try it anyway.
The riddle, right?
What? How did you know? You read my freaking journal again! When? I can't believe he's still... So that's how he found out. I'm like, oh, maybe we talked to him about it when we were researching. No, the Doomcock, just stole my journal again. I can't believe you. Spencer looked away.
Because you weren't telling me everything.
I wanted to be angry, but with everything else going on, I really didn't have the energy to be mad about it. And given the level of distrust between us, I wasn't sure I was even really surprised. Fine. Yes, it's the riddle from Brenna. There are just a few more parts I have to figure out.
It won't be fast enough.
What?
But there's another way. I read that in your journal, too.
What? What other way? Something about the suddenly feverish look in his eyes caught me off guard. I took a step back, suddenly uneasy.
I couldn't let that guy do what he wants.
What are you talking about?
Now that I've verified there's no other way, I have to do this.
Do what?
I'm sorry, but I have to do this. Now.
What are you... I didn't have time to react when he lunged at me. Before I could dodge, he planted both hands below my collarbone and shoved. I slammed into the wall behind me with a loud crack. Pain lanced through both shoulders, doubling me over as I gasped for air. Spencer, I just literally, at the beginning of this, said, I don't think we're gonna have a Spencer death ending. And what are you doing right now? Proving me a liar. How dare you? Spence! Before I could even comprehend what had just happened, Spencer was there. His hands closed around my neck as he shoved me back again. My head smacked against the wall, sending white spots dancing before my vision. I clawed at his hands, trying to pry them off my neck, but he twisted me down, throwing me off balance. We both fell in the water. What are you...
I thought about this. I thought about it and thought about it. Before they do anything, I have to fix this!
Spencer! Can't breathe! I fought back, trying to kick him, trying to twist myself out of his grasp, but he had me pinned against a little island. Water crept down my back and covered my ears.
Everything will go back to normal if we can just make her go away. Everything can go back to the way it should be.
Spencer! Gah! He jerked me to the side, pushing my head closer to the water. I panicked and fought back with everything I had, trying to gasp out a scream. But it only came out as a hoarse croak. Water filled my mouth as I desperately tried to turn my head sideways to escape. Spencer thrust my head lower, and even though the water was barely a foot deep, it closed over me. No! No! Roaring filled my ears and everything went white. Can't breathe!
Sleep. Sleep now.
Who is that? Rule, save my butt! Everything faded as I was overcome with sleep. Nice. Rule, spank this fool for me, please. Spencer let out a frightened cry and scrambled away from the white-haired woman that dragged herself out of the water, soaked and angry. He staggered to his feet, putting distance between them.
Did you think you would win this way?
He tried to keep his voice from trembling when he spoke, but he definitely recognized that woman. He hadn't been sure he would ever see her again. She hadn't changed since then. Not one bit.
It doesn't matter what you do now. You'll have to return her. You'll have to send her back home, won't you? You revealed yourself, and this time you spoke to me and everything. None of the other tests worked on you, but I thought this one probably would make you reveal yourself properly. Yes. You've managed to force my hand, and now the contract is broken. Be happy in your victory, though you shouldn't think it'll be like the books you've read.
Before he could even blink, she was right in front of him with 2 fingers placed over his good eye. He tried to run, but his feet were glued in place. She's like, I'm gonna make you blind in both eyes.
I've never liked you, little brother.
Damn. Harsh truths. She dragged her fingers down and Spencer's scream pierced the air. For all the deaths he's put us through, deserved. I started awake to the sound of a scream that wasn't mine. My cheek was pressed against dead leaves and twigs. The air was cold, and I wasn't sure where I was. I sat up groggily, rubbing my head. Where am I? I didn't know how I got here. My memories were so fuzzy. I was surrounded by trees, and nothing was familiar. I didn't know how to get home. I didn't know where home was. Hello? No one answered. All I heard in response was the sound of an empty forest. Whoa. Our revels now are ended. These, our actors, as I foretold you, were all spirits, and are melted into air, into thin air. Really? That's how that ends? That's really interesting, because in the walkthrough I had, it didn't end until slaughter. Like, I had more choices to make there. But I think that's the right ending, though. Hold on. Nani? Yeah, that was the right one. I was so taken aback. And, I mean, so Nora's just lost in the woods and Spencer is under a bridge with both eyes busted? Or is he dead? I don't know, man. That was, whew. Well then. Spencer proved me to be a big old butt liar, so thanks, little brother. I try to be on your side, and they're like, no! Alright, well, time for bad ending number 3, guys. I hope to see you over there.